Jordan Tyler Love Limited, JazzHandz proudly sponsors Glory Days, the parodied classics. Good afternoon and welcome back to JazzHandz. In this special episode, I'll be going over one of the voice actors from behind the camera, basically an ADR artist who I've known about for over half a decade now. Please give it up for the one, the only, Mr. Will Collyer. Good evening, Will. How are you?
Oh,
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Oh, not too bad. Finally meet in person, huh? On Zoom.
Yeah, it's good to meet you. I have some questions. How did you find me, first of all?
Well,
How did we end up having this conversation?
basically, I started following you on Instagram, and I knew about you because you were doing a lot of voices in various movies, and
Yeah.
when I know you've been in a lot of ADR sessions, so
Yes.
yeah, I wanted to be a bit more. I'm fascinated with voiceover, so
Cool.
yeah, so I know that you've been in a lot of because I know you first got your start for Barbara Harris's ADR looping group,
Yes.
which some of your friends, colleagues such as Nora Wyman, Willow Gear, Frin Cavadini, who I know from the Powerpuff Girls, Andrea Baker from Totally Spies, um, Jeremy Maxwell, Jason Pace. So because I first saw some of your names within the first couple of Pixar movies, like
Mhm.
Finding Dory and Cars 3, obviously.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So so what's it like over in sunny LA? 'Cause I know over here, as you might have heard, there's a couple of fireworks going on. It's bonfire night over in Britain.
Oh,
But
I don't know what's
yeah.
bonfire night. What's that mean?
Basically, it's the night of when Guy Fawkes was rebelling. So
Okay.
that's when, 'cause we have sparklers for little kids, and then we have the big bonfire, and then what we usually have is um during the bonfire fireworks, even though some of my neighbours have been blowing them off a few days early, so I could
Yeah.
hardly get some sleep. But I'm not used to fireworks anyway. It's similar to what the 4th of July's Independence Day.
Yeah, we get fireworks in LA for all sorts of occasions. The Dodgers just won the World Series. Fireworks went crazy. 4th of July fireworks go crazy. New Year's fireworks go crazy. And then there's always like a couple days before and a couple days after people get excited, and then they still have some fireworks to blow off. So they just and during the pandemic it was the worst or the best. I mean, it was a pretty bad time for everybody. But 4th of July of 2020, so many people had so much pent up stress that they that so many fireworks blew off that the streets the next morning were hazy and foggy. You couldn't see down to the end of my block, and it wasn't fog. It was all of the smoke. It was all the heavy smoke from all the fireworks. And it smelled like gunpowder. It was wild. It was wild.
Wow. I mean, lockdown was hard enough for us over here because,
Yeah.
see, I'm from Sheffield, so I'm from the northern part of England. But I mean, London had it bad most of all. We had various shops closing. We had restaurants messing about. We've had losses of transport.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even now, we have the clean air zone, which was recent. So yeah, okay. Without further ado, hang on a sec. Um, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. A second. I got one on this up. Hi, I'm Will Collier, and I'm delighted to be here. I make my living doing voiceover in Los Angeles in a variety of ways. Basically, I say no to nothing. Fortunately, I haven't been offered anything too offensive. I guess I probably would say no to some jobs, but for the most part, I do looping and dubbing for English language for stuff that's shot in other languages. I do audiobooks. I do every now and then animation stuff. Every now and then a commercial. Um, just kind of everything and anything. And I consider myself very lucky to do that.
Wow, I'm glad to hear that, bud. I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of credits. You have various because I know you've been in a lot. I believe that you had starred in a couple of um live TV shows. I believe you were in um what's that show called now? You had a
Wouldn't
first
say
voice. Yeah, yeah,
I
you had
wouldn't
a
say
first.
starred. What's but I've co-starred and I've guest starred on camera a handful of times over the years. What were you saying though? Were you were coming up with a credit? Sorry.
Oh yeah, that's okay. I forgot I should have looked on IMDb, but I believe you were in a few short films, and then you were then on a Disney Junior show, Doc McStuffins, and then currently you've been on the Super Mario movie, um, Minions: The Rise of Gru, um, Migration, Despicable Me 4, the recent Lion King remake prequel, Mufasa, and you're also a singer because I saw you in the credits for featured performers in the ensemble cast of Wish. So
Yeah.
you've had pretty much a huge amount of credits in the past decade or so. So you should be really proud.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It took until I was about to start working regularly. Well, honestly, it was about I went to college for theater in Los Angeles at UCLA, and I studied musical theater. And as soon as I graduated, I started. I'm launching into my bio, but I just want to tell you how I got to this many sort of steady credits accumulating. Is that for the first 5 years out of school, I did a lot of theater in tiny theaters around Los Angeles, but I maybe did one, maybe two guest stars. I can't really recall. I know Boston Public was my first thing years ago. Just like a single day, a couple lines, one day on set. Um, but I was really supporting myself as an assistant to a composer. Well, first I worked at Jamba Juice and I sold smoothies, and then I got a job as an assistant to a composer. But I really wasn't supporting myself as an actor until about, I would say, 10 years after graduation. It was a slow burn until finally some breaks came my way. Um, the biggest of them being the first time I did ADR with the group that I still work with today. So a lot of those big credits uh, that you mentioned there, like the Mario and the Lion King and the Despicable Me movies, I'm there as a utility player. I'm there as a looper um, with my group, and it's anywhere from 10 to 20 of us in the room. We're doing all of the background voices. We're doing all the little minions running around the side, squealing and cheering and running in fear from various things. Uh, we also handle a lot of like the one liner things that show up throughout a movie. So they don't have like a traditional casting process for a lot of those smaller parts. They have us on the day, and we've all we're all veterans at this point, and they line us up for five of us will line up and have a shot at minion number two that is whose voice is very visible on screen, and he's saying a very identifiable yay, or my turn, whatever. We will cover all those things in the course of 1 or 2 days work. um, so yeah, so some credits I book through auditions the old-fashioned way these days. That was Do Re Mi was a series on Amazon that we did a couple seasons of. Well, one long season with like 60 as like a ton of little short episodes. Um, and that was through a traditional casting process where my tape got listened to by casting directors along with probably 1,000 others. It's so competitive. Um, but I'm very lucky that looping is not an audition based job. It's a I guess I've proven myself at this point job. I show up on time. I get the work done. I'm flexible. I know how to create all kinds of characters with my colleagues. And because truly, if I were still, I've got a family. If I were still having to audition cold for my to pay my rent, I would have transferred to teaching or another. I would have probably about 10 years ago uh, thrown in the towel and just turn to something more reliable because most jobs in this business are not reliable. But I'm very lucky to have one of the few. Oh,
Well, I'm glad to hear that, bud. I know there's a lot of stuff going on, which I totally understand. But when you mean by ADR, I mean I always watch the credits and see you lot. So to me, I think the additional voices, aka looping, is just as important as the celebrities because
oh, thank you.
back in the 1940s, say Pinocchio, where there's minor kids, bullied by Stromboli or the coachman,
Hmm.
and not everyone was voiced by everyone in the cast. Some of the minor cast members were voiced by unknown children, except
Hmm.
for Pinocchio himself. Or when Dumbo was bullied by various kids at a circus before the ringmaster, um, locked Mrs. Jumbo up. So that sort of thing, or some of the animals in Bambi that are played by minor characters. So back then there was no ADR group, but say if it was like Oliver and Company, which was actually the first Disney movie to feature an ADR group, most likely
Gosh,
Barbara
that's
Harris's side.
interesting. That's interesting. Well,
Yeah, because
you're a font of knowledge. This is incredible. I see you just like you have all of this information. That's awesome. So Oliver and Company. I remember that movie when I was a kid. Wow, shit, I
yeah,
was free, isn't it? Or no, is that was that the song from that? The Billy Joel
yes,
song?
yes, it is. That was Billy Joel. The legendary Billy Joel. He's had to take a break from concerts
Yeah.
due to his health. But yeah, yeah. The thing is, what's it like being in a room with so many colleagues? Do you tend to get along with casting directors and managing to do those particular minor characters?
Uh it's pretty awesome. We have a my colleagues, the actors that I work with, are all incredible. I consider them family at this point. We really consider each other family. We see each other at work and outside of work as well. Um, and we celebrate life milestones together. We've all been working. I've been there for 15 years, others longer than I. Um, and it's so when we show up, basically like we will get the work information, the call time the day before. We'll get information about the project. Uh, Sometimes we see the cue sheets ahead of time, sometimes not. Cue sheets are all the things that the editor has gone through the movie and identified every spot in which he needs um, our contribution, in which what they need looping for. So all the scenes that have extras going to and fro, um, and they'll also mark if they want the crowd, the crowd, just a general wall off from everybody, and then getting more and more specific until you're actually putting words in the mouth of the person that's walking right behind the leads. Um, but so we get that information the day before. We all do homework research the night before, um, filling our iPads full of terminology, and sort of prompts for improvisation that will work specifically for the project. So like say it's a sci-fi picture, we need to um, we need to prepare physics terminology as if we are the scientists working in the background at the NASA headquarters that is overseeing the space flight, or we're the people walking down the halls in Star Trek. We've done a lot of the Star Trek series, so we're the people that are going up to the engineering station and living their lives, their day-to-day lives on the Star Trek ships. So you can imagine the kind of terminology that we sort of have ready to go at a moment's notice, and then we get there and we just start. We start watching. We start with the beginning of the movie, and they cue us up, and there's a beep, 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 and they tell us, we need 4 people for this cue. We watch the cue once. We see how lively those people are being. We see what the world is that they're in, and we get a beep, 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 and then we start talking. We start filling it, creating the vocal soundtrack for whatever scene we need to fill in. So we really just color in the movie or the TV show. Um, some TV shows generally take at least 2 hours, like a half hour episode will take 2 hours to finish, maybe four. Um, Hour long episode can take all day. A movie definitely can take all day. We start usually around 9 o'clock and end at 6, sometimes into overtime, sometimes multiple days if it's a really big movie. Um, but it's a really beautiful collaboration between us, and the editor is in the room with us, and he or she are directing us to get what they need and what they need for their mix to fill out and flesh out the picture.
Wow, that is very fascinating. I mean, when it comes to narrating the story, you've pretty got it pretty figured out. I mean, I would have never come up with such ways of behind the ADR looping
Mm.
stage. All I would go is check IMDb, review about you guys, check how many live movies you've done, check how many animated movies you've done, then review about you the following week, and then hopefully it comes up on YouTube. Like I've just finished doing a couple of your colleagues. I did Willow Gear a few months back as part of my pop culture reviews because I'm all about the pop culture here. So when it comes to movies, I'm not just about the story or the celebrities. I'm about the minor characters, about you guys, who you guys performed. So yeah, it's really, really observant of you to tell me most of these things. It
Did you
helps when watching the credits.
have you spoken with Willow? Have you gotten to interview her, or were you just
No,
doing a
I'm
deep
afraid.
dive on her
n-
credits?
No, no. I've just been reviewing. I tried contacting a couple of your colleagues, but I was unable to speak to the agent, so I didn't want to go through too much classified details. But IMDb is a helpful way of research. So in case if I don't interview anyone, then I would always review personally, my best work. So I like to be observant of UVAs, which comes to my next question. What has inspired you to work into voiceover? Because I know you said you graduated from college.
Well, I basically I think my first dream was to do Broadway, honestly, to do musical theater on the New York stage. Um, but I grew up in California, and I got accepted to UCLA um, through an audition that was like my first real sort of scary professional feeling audition in my life. I'd done children's theater and some local stuff in school, but the UCLA audition I will always remember as most scared I've ever been, the most sort of excited and full of possibility, and also just almost out of body experience audition when I was 17. So when they accepted me, I was like, okay, well, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to Los Angeles, and I'm going to college there, and I have no regrets about that decision at all. I had a great time at college, um, lots and lots of good friends, lots of good teachers, uh, including one teacher who gave us an incredible, one of our acting teachers right before we were about to graduate, gave us an incredible um, sort of real life career motivating talk that I've since shared with lots of younger actors and friends, which is that if we wanted to really pursue acting professionally after school, we had to give ourselves at least 5 years. And in that 5 years, don't expect to book a TV show or your dream job. Don't expect to roll off the bus and become a huge star. Find a day job to support yourself that is hopefully enjoyable, at the very least tolerable, so you're not miserable and bringing so much. You're not so you're living a happy life, a nice balanced life. Find yourself a place to live that is the same thing. Don't live in an apartment that you hate because you're putting in other words, don't put so much weight on your auditioning and your acting to break you out of the life that you're living. Like, live your life, live a good life, continue to act, take opportunities when they come. When they come, like I said, all those opportunities when I was in my 20s were in small theater shows that paid me maybe $15 a show, um, in small theaters in Hollywood. But I was gaining experience and I was living my life. And eventually, I'm rambling now. My coffee's hitting. Uh, but eventually, that led to about 10 years after school. Through various means, I met a director I was referred to a director who was doing a production of the musical Big, based on the movie with the Tom Hanks movie. And he cast me in the Tom Hanks role. So I had this great this great showcase role, in a small theater in Hollywood, and it was a minor hit. Like, we extended, we kept selling out our 60 seats or whatever for a few months, and my co-star in Big had a voiceover agent and was actively auditioning for voiceovers, and I never had, but I was always aware that it existed as a part of our business and was interested in doing it. Um, and I just was friendly with my co-star, and her agent came to the show and agreed to, actually, over that course that summer, I set up a little microphone at my computer and I recorded a voiceover demo on my own with no direction. It was pretty bad demo. I think I was doing voices. I thought at the time voiceover meant that you had to talk like this and that you had to do something, this is what I assumed voiceover was something put on, not just my natural voice. Um anyway, the demo she was not interested in, but then she saw the show and she said, "Okay, I'll have Will come in. Will, nice to meet you. You can come into the office and do an audition with me there." And after that audition, we went through like 3 or 4 different characters. We did some different commercials together. Back in that day, voiceover auditions were all in the office with the agents. They weren't on our home rigs. Um, and she agreed to work with me. And started going into auditions in their office, maybe you know, once a week, twice a week. Over the course of that year, did I book anything? I don't know that I booked anything, but I had a lot of FaceTime with that agent, and we became friends. And she saw how I worked and how I presented myself. And when Barbara's office called her and said, "Hey, I'm looking to meet with somebody that I've never met before. Do you have anyone to send my way?" My agent gave me that interview, that meeting, and the rest is kind of history. That's how I established my relationship there. Uh, in terms of voiceover training, I think all of my training in college for theater training, acting training, improv, all of this worked to my benefit. A lot of people, I think, assume voiceover. I don't think a lot of people, but some people, a lot of people have amazing voices, amazing speaking voices, but no acting training. They've never really been interested in acting, but they've just been told a lot that voice, and they hear these voices and they say, "Well, my voice sounds like that. I could do that. Easy money." Um, when in truth, it is a combination of your voice, but all of the acting training, the amount of imagination work and improv work that we do in one looping session, um, is a lot. And all of us are able to just drop into that and do that because we've been doing it a long time. But we also have done a ton of theater and have done a ton of training for that. I also, because of my singing, I I studied with a voice teacher for like 10 years after college, um, just because I knew that there were better singers than I, and I wanted to be one of those good singers.
Wow, wow. That's
And
that's
he was
that's a fascinating story.
thanks.
I mean, I
Um,
mean, I mean, when it came to, because I used to be in a theatre group.
yeah.
This was for like a former theatre group. Sadly, um my acting teacher passed away about a year ago. We were learning
Hmm.
emphasis. We were learning how to speak in that particular, like, because the singing, because I do a lot of singing as a hobby.
Mm.
I even do like a couple of voice impressions. Like um yeah, say, welcome back to Flash. This Mysterio. So that sort of thing. So that sort of enthusiasm. I mean, I currently have stage fright, so if I wanted to get into it, I'd go behind the camera and I'd make it like a part-time thing, and just
Hey,
focus on behind the camera.
I still get stage fright. I still get nervous. Not in all jobs these days, but in especially on stage in the theater. I've just been able to recalibrate the fear. I don't think of it as fear anymore. I think of it as excitement. So if that helps you, you get nervous because you're really. I feel like I'm really excited to go do this thing, and I want to get it right, and you want to. Um, so stage
Right.
fright never goes away. Boy, I used to audition. I used to in my 20s. My knees would shake. I would be standing and singing my song, and I would be feeling my knees vibrating because I was so nervous.
Oh, well, pardon me, but I was wondering, do you have any future goals, and do you happen to, have any like, do you happen to use like lozenges? Do you happen to use like pineapple juice or water just to soothe your voice? Like warm ups and stuff.
Yeah. So, quick future goals. Right now, I have two school age children, so really just my I am one goal is to just keep doing the work and being with my kids until they're out of school. I don't want to prioritize my career over their well-being until they are independent. So that's I've got another 12 years before I can really I think look at my career as the number one important thing again. Even then, I probably won't be. It'll be different. But at that point, who knows? Maybe I will start. I will definitely start auditioning for uh, theater shows again. Those contracts, those time commitments are really hard to do with children. I find. I know other people make it work, but I think that comes with sacrifice. If you're on stage every single night, getting to the theater at 6 o'clock and coming home at 12, uh, you're missing dinner and bedtime and homework time and like really important time with your children. No judgment to those who do. I know a lot of people make it work, but for me, I'm kind of kicking that can down the road. Uh, in terms of like voice care, uh, yes, Ricola lozenges. If we are in a session and we are screaming, we do a lot of we do like concert films. We did oh my gosh, we did the Elvis movie, the Baz Luhrmann remake, and so much of that movie is crowds, the most enthusiastic crowds you have ever seen, screaming their heads off for these long Elvis performances. And so there was lots of Ricolas being passed around. Also, throat coat tea. I find when I'm narrating a book, which is a very long day, you're in the studio for maybe 6 or 7 hours just talking. Um, if I drink coffee, which is my kind of my beverage of choice, my throat dries out. It starts to get sore, and it starts to get phlegmy. It's a mess. If I drink throat coat tea with some honey in it, it lubricates everything. It gets everything nice and moist, and I can go those 7 hours with no adverse side effects.
Oh, I mean, pineapple juice does help. I mean, I have had honey with tea when I've recorded like a couple of my YouTube videos.
Hmm.
I know that there was a lot of audiobooks that you've done. I knew that you were you said that you were in a couple of concert movies. And I realized you were in that Katy Perry movie, I believe.
Yeah, yeah,
Guessing you were in the crowds in that movie, even though I've not personally seen it, but I have checked the ADR for those particular movies.
yeah.
But yeah, what are your hobbies to do outside of voice acting and singing? Because I know you like spending time with your kids. I'm an uncle myself.
Ah, nice.
But even though I don't see them as often as I should, do you tend to like, go to the movies with them, go to soccer practice or like spend Christmas or anything? 'Cause I realized, I just found out that you're the grandson of the legendary Bud Collyer, who was the original Superman in the Fleischer cartoons. Is that true?
Great nephew, my grandfather's brother was Bud Collyer. And so Bud Collyer, they were born in New York, and Bud came out to Los Angeles to work and do his career. And my grandfather followed him to Los Angeles, and then had a a pretty long career as an editor out here. Did a lot of Twilight Zones and other movies. And my dad grew up in L.A. and his dad was the editor. His uncle was Bud Collyer, the game show host, and yeah, original radio Superman. And what's funny is I really didn't have any knowledge of this was not. I mean, I think I knew the name Bud Collyer when I was growing up. I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area. My dad was in tech sales. Um, but it was not like something that our family really focused on. Entertainment industry was not anything that I was really shoved towards, or there was no real talk about that history until I came down to LA and was making my life in that, and then it sort of revealed itself. Oh yeah, there's a bit of a legacy here. Uh,
Cool, cool. I know. I watched a couple of shorts from the Superman 1941 Fleischer shorts. So I hope I didn't make you too uncomfortable there, but I just wanted to
no, no,
point that
no,
out.
not at all. I love that legacy. We got a framed poster of Bud in the house, and I
Okay,
love doing
so
his old
quick
school voice.
question, because we're running overboard a little bit. Sorry
Oops,
about an
sorry.
interruption.
No, no,
If
no.
you had a favorite celebrity, who would you want to meet and why?
Oh man, you probably sent this question over to me. Who would I want to meet as a celebrity? Uh, that's a hard one. I don't know. I enjoy all celebrities. I sort of see them for the work that the worker. I see them as like very busy, successful people, who you also see in the grocery store. Uh, so I don't have an answer for you for that right now. That's terrible.
Oh,
I
that's
should.
understandable. I
Yeah.
mean, I always want to observe voice actors' observances with the public eye and the show business. Show business and pop culture has always been my thing. Even if I wasn't able to get onto the stage like I did a couple of years ago, or get into voiceover, at least I could, review about it in my pop culture scrapbook,
Yeah.
which I have, which I've been doing since earlier this year. Because I wanted to come away from the theatre stuff and just focus on creativity behind the camera. Like I do a lot of reviews and stuff, which I'll continue. You might be able to see yours in a few months around January, February time.
All
But
right.
yeah, I'm hoping that at some point I can get to interview a couple more people in the near future, if I can, depending on how busy their schedules are.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you had a message for young Will, what would you tell him?
I would tell him, uh, don't never don't be afraid to be yourself. I think young Will spent a lot of time rhyme. Probably one of the reasons I ended up being an actor is I spent a lot of time trying to be something that I thought I was supposed to be. Trying to probably putting on a voice, carrying on just carrying on a. I just had a lot. I really was a people pleaser as a kid, and I didn't really have a strong pride in myself and my self identification and my I just so I think shedding that earlier may have benefited me in some way. I don't know. I'm pretty lucky. Um I've been loved most of my life. My good family and but that would be my message for young Will. And it's a message that Will got that real Will got when he was about 19 years old anyway. So it wasn't too it was didn't wait too long to shed those chains of that's one of the greatest things about UCLA really was that I did learn a lot about acting, but mostly I learned how to be myself and to embrace myself and to that includes my voice, where my voice lives, like my register. I think if you'd met me, this was probably how I talked more. I think I can't even do it anymore, but I used to have a lot of tension And I didn't put my voice up where it naturally resonates because it felt high. It didn't feel strong for whatever reason. I was self-conscious about it. Um, there you go.
Wow, wow. Well, yeah. Well, that was a great story. I mean, interesting how you can be yourself without trying to be someone that you aren't, which I've been finding out lately. And thing is, ever heard of the term, there's nothing wrong with being unpopular? Even though I wished I was popular, but then again, I realized that popularity isn't everything.
Yeah.
And you gotta get out there, impress who you, when impress when you can impress. If you can't impress anybody, then just slow down. I take things slow every single day because obviously it's to, reduce stress issues and putting pressure on yourself.
Hmm.
And that kind of advice has, taught me never let yourself see that, or in my term, never let people see that they get to me because if at first
Hmm.
you don't succeed, you can always try again. Live your
Yeah.
life as one wise voice actor who I've just interviewed just said. So I appreciate your time, Will. Thank you so much for coming. I
Hey, thanks.
believe
Thanks for reaching out.
you're welcome. I believe that's all the time that we have for.
Okay.
Um, and thank you so much for coming. That just really means a lot to me. Hopefully, you'll be able to see this episode on my YouTube channel in a couple of weeks or so. And yeah, if there's any other VAs that I'm looking for, send them my way if you can. And
All right.
I hope to hear your voice in an upcoming ADR group for additional voices really soon.
We've got a lot coming out. Hey, one more thing. I want to say about that message of pleasing people. You're not gonna if people don't like the real you, then they're not people you want to be spending time with. If you're having to put on any sort of if I'm having to put on any sort of thing, pretend I'm somebody different or do something that doesn't feel right in my stomach in order for people to accept me and like me, then they're not people I want to spend my time with. Um, you know, so there you go. My
All right
last.
then. All right
Hey,
then. Thank you so
thanks
much,
for having me.
and you're welcome. And yeah, um, as I said, I hope to see you in a couple of movies real soon. And good luck, happy Thanksgiving, and
Thank you.
enjoy the rest of your year. Take
All
care.
right. You too. Bye bye.
Bye.